and call the school committee meeting to order. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29, 2023 order extending the temporary provisions to the open meeting law until March 31st, 2025, this meeting of the school committee is in a hybrid format and is being recorded. The meeting will be broadcast and recorded on local public access station Verizon 31 and Charter Spectrum 191, and live streamed on the town's YouTube channel when available. A recording of the meeting will be available on the town's website and YouTube channel. To join the meeting, visit www.zoom.us/join and enter the meeting code and password. The meeting's been called to order. Each member should state their name and whether they are attending in person and remotely.
Jennifer Darling, in person.
Nate Jerome, in person.
Bruce Edwards, in person.
Jill Kozachka, in person.
Next order of business, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, public forum. I will open the meeting for public forum. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. It's the chair's call on the time. We ask if you're going to speak, please say your name, your street address, and the city in which or town of which you're from.
Good evening, Cameron Loss, not from here, but teach here. For almost 19 years, I have worked in Sutton. I wake up and go to a job I enjoy. I work with dedicated people, have enjoyed the full support of administration, and appreciate the educational system this town calls its own. For those present or watching, you need to know that you have a school system to be proud to call yours. Yes, yours. From the moment students walk into your schools, they get an excellent education. I appreciate all the people in the district, but tonight I'm focusing on the building I know best, the high school. Walk our hallways and you will hear curious, willing teenagers who are healthy, happy, and safe. Enter our classroom and you will see these same young people learning skills and applications for life. Stay after school and you will see these same young people participating in sports, clubs, and a variety of activities designed specifically for them. Come to games, performances, shows, concerts, speech contests, whatever, and you will find a group of young people that you can be proud to share a town with. Come to your school, and you'll find young people that are educated as well as anywhere in this state. There's not an educator in the high school that has not had students return and tell us how well prepared they were for college and are for life. And that is because they have good families, neighbors, and teachers and administrators that care. Care. Care for the growing minds of the students. Care for the outside the classroom needs of the students. Care for the mental health, personal safety, and changing needs of the students. Care for the future of the students. The world does not stand still, and neither do the teachers and administration in their efforts to care for the entire physical, spiritual, mental, and ever-changing needs of the students. Are we perfect? Nobody is. But we do care, and caring matters, and always will. For the last year, it seems like there are those that care only about a few minutes from last year. They're so fixated on it that they cannot see the truth about the school, and that truth is that it is a top-notch school. For the students, there are thousands of moments and questions and thoughts and recalculations and victories and curtain calls and laughter and tears and triumphs over 4 years. When you fixate on a moment, as some people have chosen to do, well, you miss the truth. And the truth is that this is a great school, guided by a great administration, fueled by great instructional aides, assistants, coaches, counselors, custodians, nurses, teachers, and volunteers, and brought to life by some of the greatest young people alive. From top to bottom, we care, and that is why we do what we do. So to those who choose to focus on a moment, I'm sorry for you. But I don't have time to dwell on that because I'm too busy focusing on the students as are my colleagues. It would be nice if more of you joined us in doing that, but the choice, of course, is yours. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Madison Taylor. I'm also not from here, but I teach here. I've been an English teacher at Sutton High School for the past 6 years. I'm here tonight to address the growing concerns I have about the attitude towards and the treatment of the high school faculty by this committee. In thinking about what I would say to you all tonight, my first thought was to share a poem that I came across in my lesson planning last year for a brief poetry unit I do with my freshmen. The poem was too lengthy to share in its entirety, but I have emailed each of you a link to the text. It tells the story of a school during fifth period, moving from one character to the next as they interact with each other, showing each other grace and respect for all of the things that they do throughout the school day that falls far beyond their responsibilities of teacher, custodian, student, guidance counselor, and principal. The reason I wanted to share this poem with you is because it so clearly replicates my experience every time I walk down the hall during my prep period to make copies or meet with another teacher or administrator. Every day I walk past extraordinary educators bending over backwards to educate our students. In Amber Trudeau's class, students are doing anatomy projects labeling all the parts of their own body that have been traced on chart paper by a classmate. In Lisa Sipek's and Christina Gamble's math classes, students are completing circuits and scavenger hunts created by their teachers with their own time and money and supplies so that our students aren't spending every day completing worksheet after worksheet of problem sets like I did when I was in high school. Erin Miller and Lindsay Maxim provide the students experiential learning with Junior Job Shadow Day, and Jen Tangent hosts a tapas tasting in AP Spanish class for students to learn more about the language and culture that they study. Deb O'Neill brings in wild and exotic animals so our zoology students can see the animals they've studied in the flesh. I myself have taken my AP Literature students to see Macbeth on Broadway to give them a greater appreciation for the impact Shakespeare has had to this day. Our teachers have literally flown halfway around the world for our students, bringing them to Europe to see all the learning this world has to offer. They will drop everything to help our students. Christina Gamble did that just last week so that she could help me chaperone 18 high school students at an overnight DECA competition so that the students weren't affected when another faculty member was sick. Every year, Sergio Marcucci places every senior in an internship or a passion project to give them real work experience in a career they are interested in pursuing, an invaluable learning experience I would have loved to have had as a high school student. When will this school committee put aside our differences and recognize the tremendous work that our high school faculty puts in and day out to provide our students with a first-class education, despite budget cuts and despite the consistently disparaging remarks made by the community? When will the school committee start to celebrate the work of a building of dedicated educators doing everything in their power to help Sutton students succeed? I will close with the final lines of the poem I mentioned earlier, which I think perfectly encapsulate how our high school faculty and their efforts have been represented by this committee. Tell me, muse of the siren that called their joy sparse and their love vacant. Tell of the wind that scattered them. I implore you, please do not be this siren. Please do not be this wind. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Sipek. I've been teaching math at the high school for 19 years. I do not live in town, I just teach in town. Education of young people is ever evolving, and under strong administrative leadership, we have grown at the high school to ensure that all of our students, no matter their future plans, have access to many experiences that help to motivate, challenge, and guide them. In the past decade, the high school has flourished in numerous ways. AP courses have been added that include chemistry, physics, English language, English literature, statistics, environmental science, to name a few. Financial wellness has been added as a graduation requirement. The Reality Fair is an experience for juniors to meet with community members and, in the course of 2 hours, plan a budget to live within their means for their chosen occupation. Numerous trips abroad have been planned and have been successful due to faculty and staff using their vacation time to accompany students on such immersive and important trips. The robotics team and introductory engineering courses have been added. Our DECA program has grown to include 47 students, and 3 competitions, including districts, states, and international competitions where our students have competed in both California and Florida. An Introduction to Business course has been added to support DECA students and to pique the interests of others, and a marketing elective is ready to go if staffing allows. Students interested in entering the workforce are provided field trips to Porter and Chester to explore post-high school options for job training. MyCap is a newer addition, an academic planning tool for the freshmen to explore careers and future options. These initiatives to include and engage students in as many ways as possible is always at the forefront of our decision-making at the high school. All this and more has only been possible at our high school because we work in an environment where a culture of safety and belonging is paramount. Our administration has valued our professional opinions at every turn, allowing and encouraging teachers to try new things. Our high school is a family where we work collaboratively at scheduled times, but more importantly, on our own time. We are a team, caring for and helping one another, and in turn, we are able to care for our students in the same way. Thank you.
Good evening. Michael Whittier, 70 Torrey Road, resident and teacher, and tonight representing the faculty at the high school. We are here tonight as educators, professionals, and dedicated advocates for our students. However, we must address an ongoing issue that is both frustrating and demoralizing: the repeated, unwarranted criticism of our work by members of this committee. Most recently, the use of our professional development time to grade midterm exams. Let us be clear. Midterm exams are rigorous, high-stakes assessment that measure student growth and achievement. They're not just about assigning grades. They are a critical tool for reflection, shaping both our instruction and our students' learning. The timeline for grading these exams is incredibly tight. During this short window, we must carefully evaluate exams, post-exam grades, finalize and post second quarter grades, prepare special education progress reports, manage significant student makeup work due to illness and family obligations, and for many of us, prepare to teach entirely new courses with new groups of students for the second semester, which happened 3 minutes after the final midterm. To be clearer, grading exams does not simply mean checking multiple choice answers. It includes reading and assessing lengthy open responses and essays, evaluating project-based assignments, analyzing overall student performance, conducting item analysis, reflecting on curriculum and instruction, and collaborating with our colleagues. All of this is essential work. It is meaningful professional development. These are best practices that have been in place and valued in our district for well over a decade. To put this challenge into perspective, we even recently surveyed our neighboring schools, high schools, 2/3 of which have multiple release days, providing teachers with 3 hours a day over the course of 4 days to grade and reflect. In contrast, we are given a single 3-hour day to complete, on average, 30-plus hours of grading. The math simply does not add up. We utilize our professional development time for grading because we have no other choice. If we are to uphold the high standards expected of us and the challenging timelines provided us, it is simply not enough time. Yet rather than being supported, we find ourselves unfairly criticized, not because of our performance, but because of personal grievances and animosities against building administration. This is unacceptable. We are here to tell you we will no longer be used as a scapegoat in political battles. We will no longer tolerate attacks that undermine the integrity of our work and the well-being of our school. We expect respect for our profession, our time, and our unwavering commitment to our students. We welcome collaboration and constructive dialogue, but we will not stand by while our efforts are misrepresented and weaponized. Our focus is and always will be on the delivering of the best education possible, and we ask this committee to do the same. Thank you.
Is there anybody online? Oh, wait a minute.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Deb O'Neill Versidlow. My husband and I have lived here for 28 years. We have 3 kids who have gone to school from kindergarten through 12th grade here, and I have been a science teacher at the high school since 2007. And I'm speaking to you tonight because I'd like more information about the process used to fill the superintendent position. From what I understand, the job was posted from December 16th to December 27th. There was no communication with employees, parents, or residents, just an announcement once a decision was made. Unlike the searches in the past, there was no search committee made up of parents, residents, teachers, and students. No public publication of the credentials of the applicants. No visits of the applicants to our school. No visits of school committee to applicant schools. No community meet and greet. If your reasoning is that it would have been a waste of time because there was a clearly one front runner, I wish you had been more transparent and let the community see how clear the decision was. Being superintendent is a hard public job, which is responsible for managing here about 150 employees and overseeing a large portion of the town's budget. But you've put the new superintendent in a position that makes it even more difficult, because the reasons that she was appointed are shrouded in mystery. If I applied for a high-profile job that usually had public input, I would hope that the hiring committee would let people know that I got the job because I deserved it. And now I'm particularly concerned about having a new town manager, a new superintendent, and a new high school principal all at the same time. Even this late in the game, I think the public should see the names and resumes of the applicants, although I expect the options to be slim because the job was posted so briefly, so that we can have the same confidence that you have. I would feel so much better if I could say, yep, they chose the best person for the job, even if they didn't follow past procedure. Thank you for your time.
Okay. All right, we'll close the open forum and move to the consent agenda. I need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a couple things. Harrison? On the February 20th one, I noticed the officials were, I know there's like multiple places, but where they can come out of, but it was the first time I noticed it was like described as middle school.
Yep. So as this committee was made aware, there was a large donation to support the middle school basketball team. And with those funds being given to the district, it was made very clear that all expenses to support that program would come from those funds. Those funds were deposited specifically into the gifts and donations revolving account, where it was separated so that expenses could be directly applied. So that's why it's, identified as middle school basketball.
Okay. It was just the only one that was, I didn't know if we had run out of money or something
No,
like that.
so
Okay.
we were just asked to differentiate that so that it could be easily identifiable to trace back to the funds that that anonymous donor put forth.
Great, thank you. That's it.
Any other questions?
No.
No, I'm awesome.
Okay. Vote.
Darling, aye.
Jerome, aye.
Edwards, aye.
Kozachka, aye.
Let's see, next item is the education portion, superintendent scholar.
Yes. I don't know if that's working. So tonight, we are looking to present Logan Newton, who is in the audience with his family, with the Worcester County Superintendent's Association Sutton High School Scholar Award for 2024 through 2025. Logan was here with us back in the fall, and he received the MASS Academic Excellence Award. But I think it's important for us to reread all of the amazing accomplishments that he has had over his time here at Sutton High School, because I'm sure not everyone was tuned into that meeting. So Logan was selected for this award. He is the 2024 Harvard Book Award recipient. So recipients of this award are exemplary students in the next to graduating high school class who display excellence in scholarship and achievement in non-academic fields. He is also an AP Scholar with Distinction that is granted to students who receive an average score of at least 3.5 on all AP exams taken and scores of 3 or higher on 5 or more of these exams. During the 2023-2024 school year, the Sutton High School School Awards, he received awards for outstanding achievement in AP Environmental Science, excellence in chemistry, excellence in English language arts, and outstanding achievement in Spanish 3. In school activities, he is the National Honor Society president and has completed 700 hours of community service, and he tutors middle school students. He has been a member of DECA both in the 11th and 12th grade. He was a State Career Development Conference qualifier in Principles of Business Management and a State Career Development Conference qualifier in Retail Merchandising. He is a Humanities Scholar Collaborative member, a varsity basketball team member, and a varsity baseball team member. Additionally, out of school, he is the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation walk captain for 5 years, and he has raised thousands of dollars for diabetes research annually. And he is also a camp counselor at Barton Center for Diabetes Education. So as everyone in the room and everyone listening can hear, he is more than deserving of this award, and we're so happy to have him come up and accept that. Background in the background. Like right over there, I can do it.
Superintendent's award shouldn't
Yeah,
it be you?
but I'll go in with you guys, it's fine, but, oh boy.
Yeah, we'll pop over here in front of the, we're gonna do the flag over here. Right in here. No, you gotta.
You gotta be in the middle.
No, star, you gotta be, congratulations. You're one of those people that make the list.
Oh, Jill, you were hidden in there.
Thanks for coming back.
I'm gonna go for biocream somewhere.
Three, two, one. Beautiful.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We'll see you at the next few things. Next item on the agenda is to discuss and vote on the school calendar for 2025-26. Need a motion.
Say the one with the draft or,
Yeah.
okay, draft 4.
Yeah.
I move to approve draft 4 as the 2025-2026 school calendar.
So just some information, this one was created at the end of last week. We received feedback from the STA around the date for parent-teacher conferences. It was before it was close to the holiday, so we've now moved it so that it would be on,
Can we get a second first?
A second.
Thank you.
Sorry, second.
Wednesday, November 12th, would be the day for no school. It would be parent-teacher conferences for the Simonian Center and the elementary school. And then the 13th, the next day would also be an early dismissal day, so your conference days are back-to-back.
Makes sense.
Got a motion, a second, any discussion?
I know I usually find a lot of these very close. There's not a lot we can deviate with. So a lot of times you look at calendars and it's a day tweaked or something like that. And we often strive to get as many consistent weeks available as possible. And I think, again, sometimes you can go from one draft to the next, and it's a minor thing. But in this case, with the STA really kind of pushing this one, and, you know, I trust the judgment that this is probably best fit, so.
I agree.
I agree. I've had a parent or two reach out just preferring the, easier getting time off on a Friday, perhaps, for a schedule, for a conference. I do love having more full weeks, though. And it's my understanding, it's just that week that's the
Yeah,
shift,
so then
right?
the week that's impacted would actually prevent the week before from
Right.
being an early dismissal. So you're going to have an interruption in student learning, but at least it's all within the same week.
Yeah. Okay. Was there discussion of the 13th? Is it early
It
release?
would be an early release, yep.
All right. But it was mentioned maybe a late start or
Late
something?
start. You could
Have we ever
consider
done that?
We've done a late start before, I believe, I forget what year it was. It started at 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then teachers started conferencing at 12, and then it went into the evening.
Now, if we voted on this with it saying half-day, it
It
doesn't
just says half day, it doesn't specify if that's morning or afternoon, and I can meet with the STA to hear them out on that and gather more information on that. But it would just be, that would be the day set aside for the conferences.
And typically, there's plenty of notice ahead. We don't have to decide right now, but obviously, as we get to the school year, we're informed.
And none of these versions have election day off, correct?
The town.
It's an off year,
Yeah.
so typically on major election years,
Okay.
we focus on that, but not
Yeah.
off
Okay.
years.
Any further discussion?
Not from me.
Time for vote?
Draft 4. Darling, aye.
Jerome, I.
Edwards, aye.
Kozachka, aye.
Motion passes. Next item is the third reading and adoption of the competency determination policy.
I move to adopt the competency determination policy for the school year 24-25 as presented.
Second?
Any discussion?
We're supposed to read it, or is there a
We do
blurb?
not
It's
have to read it.
available.
No.
Hearing none, time for vote.
Darling, aye.
Jerome, I.
Edwards, aye.
Kozachka, aye.
Passes 4-0. Next item is to adopt the preliminary fiscal year 2026 general operating budget. Which is kind of odd because there's it's on here twice.
Well, yeah.
Is it the same as the next item? The
No, it
preliminary
says
budget?
allocated.
There's two, there's.
Yep, so the
Okay.
general operating budget and the allocations are two parts of the budget. They're
So there's
their
no
own
motion
items.
on there's no motion or,
Well, it's all part of the budget, although for our sheet, what should happen is that title should be the next one down, so it's okay. It's just a,
oh, I see, okay.
yeah.
So then we need a motion.
So I move to adopt the preliminary fiscal year 26 general operating budget in the amount of $20,178,786 as presented.
Second?
Do you want me to scroll through while you do, or?
Yeah, so if you want to go through the PowerPoint, we've presented this a number of times, and really, we just keep adding on to it, so we'll skip down.
There is one thing that I did want to correct. At the last school committee meeting, I misspoke about the cap for the fashion design sewing class, and I said it was going to affect 12 kids because that was the cap of the class. 12 is actually the current enrollment in the program. The cap for the class is actually 16. So I just wanted to make sure that I corrected that since I misspoke.
Could you go to slide 9? So for those of you who are unfamiliar or just tuning in, the last time the preliminary budget for FY26 was presented, the district did have a 16,005 cent budget gap. It took into a number of considerations that the committee has already voted on, but between February 3rd and today, March 3rd, the district has made considerable efforts to try and reduce that gap, and you'll see that on slide 10. The current preliminary budget has FY26 general operating expenses at $20,178,786, and the FY26 grant and revolving expense allocation at $2,705,842.63 for the total district operating expense grants revolving accounts general operating budget combined of $22,884,628.63. Again, our revenues match those expenses, so the budget gap has been successfully closed with these considerations at play. Again, this includes a proposal to the SESA with a step increase of $1.75 an hour for year 1 of their contract. This does take into effect 7 administrator contracts do remain to be negotiated. However, there is a 3% placeholder in there. On slide 11, how this budget gap of $16,000 was closed from the last time we presented to today. Again, there was more that happened behind the scenes than what the public might not know. But we have been in union negotiations, multiple meetings since our last presentation. So the district has proposed to allocate an additional $66,686.12 from our school choice reserves to close this budget gap. And again, that budget gap was the $16,000 that we left off with, plus any additional increases for that $1.75 increase in the potential union negotiations for year 1. It brings the district's school choice contribution for next year to $426,686.12. So that is a substantial amount of school choice funds being used to close out the budget gap, but the most ideal method. On slide 12, if you want to scroll down. Again, this slide was updated since the last time we presented it. Again, it's showing FY26 with a $0 gap, and then it shows the next 3 fiscal years with some very high level assumptions being taken into consideration to get a type of forecast for us down the road. Again, there's not much to really play with, and there are some very broad assumptions being put into play to get these, future gap numbers, if you will. They're ever-changing, ever-evolving, with more detail coming out. So I wouldn't put too much emphasis into those years, but it does give you a very broad overview. So that concludes the updates to the FY26 preliminary operating budget. I'll turn it back over to the committee for any questions.
Thanks, Harrison. Any questions?
No, I would like to comment. I mean, the budget, as we've said on several meetings, it's always a tough time of the year. It's always a tough situation. And I think some people watching might hear, hey, the budget gap's been closed. Great. It's not great. I mean, hey, it's good. We've lined things up with the revenue that we have. And if you see the projection on that last slide, it projects we get about 740,000 every year from the town. That's the projection. And we still can't keep up. Everybody is facing expenses. That being said, we've closed the budget, but we've had to make some difficult decisions. This isn't, hey, everything's good. We've met everything we need. We've expressed in this meeting previously, there are things that we would like for this district. This district should be in a growth mode. And instead, we're in a sustain mode. We're trying our best to sustain. This year, we recognized some needs that we felt were being overlooked in the early grades. Unfortunately, we didn't have the money to just say add that. We had to pull from somewhere. And unfortunately, the upper grades were hit, and those impacts will be felt. That's not without issue. So even though the budget's been closed or the budget's been, the gap has been met, it's not all good news. It's good enough. It gets us by to the next thing, but, the kids are not getting everything that we would like to provide them. And at some point, I think the town does need to decide, where do you want to invest? Because as the school, we work with the money that we're provided. So I just wanted to put that piece in there that, again, even though I will vote to approve the budget, I wish we had more, and I don't think it meets all the needs of what we're looking for. Just wanted to add a comment.
Thank you.
I agree with everything that Nate said. He says it so well. I guess I have just been continuing to ask questions, meeting with people who've had concerns, trying to dig in about the library assistant, how we have an asterisk, and it used to say something like, it's just a title change. But recently it's come to my attention that the position is going to change. That library assistant is no longer going to be housed in the middle school library and will turn into an IA. I was in the middle school, high school library for about an hour on Friday, and it was hopping. And I was told that wasn't even a busy day or a busy time of day. And so I am baffled by what we are presenting, because with how the high school runs and the middle school, I don't see how we're going to function with the continuing addition of virtual high school classes, the SPP study halls, and 100 other duties that the library assistant and the librarian do. I also, as a parent, I read the middle school daily announcements, and I ask questions. So just last week, there was Mr. V's 6th grade class, and I was confused. I thought maybe Mr. V was out, and they just go to the library. No. And I thought maybe there weren't enough to cover. No, that's not the case. They were going and doing research. So in addition to maybe Genius Hour being in there, because Mrs. Farmer teaches a class in there, or the VHS classes, Mr. V's 6th grade class was in there for several periods a day. And I just don't see, if we lose that library assistant, how that place is going to function. I don't think we have a handle on that. And if we approve this and it's a done deal, I think we're saying goodbye to the model of that library. That library is gorgeous and is very busy. And the library assistant is there from, I've been told, as early as 6:30 a.m. so students can get dropped off and have a place to be. And then it's open for advisory and lunch and after school. I feel misled on that portion of our budget. I can understand, cutting a field trip or, there's that. Another question I had, I was told, we keep saying it like it's a bad word, that we're cutting electives, but does yoga count as a physical education requirement? And is that a core class?
It is a physical education requirement.
It's an option to fulfill the requirement.
Okay. I've looked over the spreadsheets that were provided of, I've calculated, I've looked at how many VHS classes we offer, which I guess has significantly increased since COVID. With dropping classes, and I know the numbers are going down, I just don't know where these kids are gonna go, and I say I don't know where they're gonna go, but I have a feeling they're gonna go to the library. And if, I just don't think that is a great solution, so. And what I'm saying is I wish the town would give us more money. So, but I think you've done a great job with what we've had to work with. I think I was naive in thinking that this process was gonna be more transparent and I'd be more involved in it. I know we had a budget subcommittee, but I still felt like there was going to be more collaboration, and there absolutely was not.
I mean, I think the library assistant position shift, that was one that administration proposed. That wasn't the budget subcommittee, or to my knowledge.
I know
That
it
was-
wasn't a budget subcommittee.
That was an administration.
Building-based administration
Building-based
put that
administration.
forward in January. When I explained it in January, it was something that the administration at the high school and the middle school felt that it was in the best interest of students to have an instructional assistant over a library assistant. That was not something that was put forward by the committee.
But I think that, and I'm not putting words into the building-based administration, but I don't think that they understood that that person may not be housed in the library. But
I mean, I can speak that I had conversations that you can't eliminate one position and then make it a new position and then have the person essentially do their old job. That would be a grievance in a second with any union. There was a conversation that if this were to move forward, that person cannot fulfill the jobs that they were doing and the duties that they were doing in that position.
so for the past several years, the library assistant has been saving the town and our budget, I think, as much as $35,000 a year. So now with removing that and removing all this, I'm just wondering how the library is going to work and how students are going to take VHS and SPP, and the middle school students are going to have a class. But I don't know, I mean, I haven't seen what's proposed for next year.
It's not a cost-saving measure for us. Like I said, it was just something that was brought up that they would prefer that. And in transparency, we wanted to make sure that we put it on there that technically the position is being eliminated if we're bringing in an instructional assistant instead.
The dollar amount stays the same. So it's preference.
But, so who is going to decide how it runs? Like, if, I think a long time ago, years ago, there was like, say, the SPP, the study hall was typically for seniors. And now I'm told, because there aren't classes that juniors want to take or that they can take, they're doing that study hall too. So the numbers have significantly increased, and I believe 65 kids are in there for G block. So what's going to happen?
I can ask the building-based administration what their plan is for that. They have not shared that with me.
Could I add on that during advisory and lunch, the library is always full, and that is mainly supervised by the library assistant. And in terms of SBP and VHS, there are kids I took as soon as 8th grade. So that is becoming more of a total high school thing rather than just a senior thing. I have friends in my grade and sophomore year that also have VHS. And as you did say, there are that many kids in 7th period, and that is also entirely supervised by the library assistant.
Okay.
Thank you.
So is this changing the position, moving the library assistant out of the library, creating an IA? Is that a done deal?
Well, I mean, it's your budget to vote on. That's what administration asked me to put forward, and that was what was put forward.
So administration felt that that was the best use of the funds?
They felt it was the best use of,
And you feel that they understood that this is what's
I
happening?
had a conversation with administration about that because I did not want a grievance to be filed by the SESA.
I don't know. I don't think they can understand, like, that this is what's gonna happen. Just doesn't seem feasible.
But you are correct, that she cannot, that position cannot do the duties that they are currently performing if they are moved to be an instructional assistant.
I just feel like this would be irresponsible of us to not look into this further. This kind of blows up our entire model. I mean, I know we were provided the information, but I don't think we understood at all what this means.
Harrison, you mentioned that the funding is roughly the same amount.
Well, yes, theoretically, if you look at every past year, but the one caveat is there is the proposal to have the library assistant grid be in the SESA contract. So should the committee select to keep the middle school, high school library assistant, that grid is higher than what an IA placement is. So you would need more funds to cover that increase.
So essentially saying that even if the same amount of money was there, and it was kind of this money for that position or this money for that position,
Right.
if we approve the budget, you would think that, hey, the building administration could make the decision that, hey, it's more important to have a library assistant. However, based on the grid structure, it would not support the funding needed going forward.
Correct. They would need to come up with a couple more $1,000s to justify the library assistant position with the current proposal by the SESA union.
Okay. Thank you.
Could I ask if the duties of the library assistant are going to the librarian, or are they going to be ignored? Like, what's...
I can find out from building-based administration because they're the ones that oversee the building and they're the ones that presented this, so they have not fully shared their plan with me, so I'd be remiss to try and speak about that because I don't have that information.
Okay, thank you.
I would imagine too that the building administration, we're not excited about this proposal. You know, we've said it many times during budget. It's making the best bad decisions or whatnot. You know, nobody enjoys this. We're not looking to pull things away. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, there's only so much money to fund certain things. And we have been seeing for well over a decade, you know, we are continuously cutting. And we're not the only district. Not that that makes it right, but you look at a lot of the surrounding towns and it's frustrating. The country and the state doesn't fund education the way that I wish they would.
I mean, I think you said it well. I think there's so many positions that I would love to see funded across all the grade levels. You know, pre-K up to high school, there's high school positions I would like to add. I'd love to have a business teacher. I'd love to offer a second language, as you've mentioned. I really would love to add more IAs down at the lower grades. I think those are needed. We're down, I think, 4 than we were in previous years. So I think, you know, the library, I hear it from my own kids. I agree with you that it can get, I think, a little unruly, but I would assume that they maybe have a plan as far as, you know, shifting teachers down or instructional assistants when kids are coming down. I'm sure they're gonna cover it somehow for them to make that proposal.
I don't think so. I think this is falling through the cracks. I do. I think this was, oh, we're just gonna change the name, and I think recently it was pointed out that we can't do this because of, there would be a grievance, and now, I don't think this is a good situation for middle school, high school. I really don't. So, I know it impacts the future, but our school choice has $426,686.12. I don't know what that would reduce to if we changed it back to a library assistant, but I don't know. I just think this is gonna have significant consequences, so, but no one's kind of given me the feeling that it's not.
Any more discussion? We have a motion on the table to adopt the preliminary fiscal year 26 budget. We'll vote.
I'm gonna say no. Darling, no.
Jerome, I.
Edwards, aye.
Kozachka, aye.
Passes 3-1. So the next item is adopt a preliminary fiscal year 26 allocated budget.
I move to adopt the preliminary FY '26 allocated budget in the amount of $2,706,127.63 as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just to, inform the committee on what this is, that $2,706,127.63 is all of the revolving funds and grant funds that are entitlement grants that help to offset and reduce the general operating budget. So it's your school choice, your circuit breaker, grant 240, 262, and your title grants, as well as a wide variety of revolving accounts as described throughout this budget process. Again, I'm keeping it at a preliminary level because there is always that ability for, a number to come in and to be final, and for us to update that between now and before the town votes this budget in May. But again, those are just your revolving accounts and grants. There's they're just offsetting your operating expense.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Darling, aye.
Jerome, I.
Edwards, aye.
Kozachka, aye.
Next item is the fiscal year 25 budget update.
All right, so we'll go through this as fast as the committee would like. Again, for anyone watching at home, I've had a number of people reach out to my office and ask, where can I become informed as a resident, as a parent, on how the district is spending its funds, what's the current fiscal picture we find ourselves in for this current year's budget. This is the information you want to look into. These munis files and this summary file is where you, as a concerned parent or staff member, would want to look in to see where we are as a district for this point in time in the fiscal year. So I'll go through the Simonian Center first. The district has a year-to-date expense of $2,203,636.06, with a remaining budget of $1,994,810.02, being at 54% used. In the elementary school, sits at $2,039,595.24, with a remaining budget of $1,700,599.89, sitting at 56% used. The middle school has expensed $2,062,827.92, with a remaining budget of $1,766,638.29, sitting at 55% used. The high school has expensed $2,695,944.40, with a remaining budget of $2,017,373.44, sitting at 58% used. And the district office expense has a year-to-date balance of $2,656,779.76, with a remaining budget of negative budget of $1,329,336.06. Again, that is because of circuit breaker and school choice and grant 240, which will be reclassed at the end of the fiscal year. Capital allocation accounts. We had no activity this past month. We have a number of bids that are awarded for the district. We have the drone flyover of the middle school, high school roof, but we're waiting for better weather for that to happen, so we'll have some expenses for the roof repairs. The LED signs for the middle school, high schools, and the elementary and Simonian Center. Again, we're waiting for better weather for the company to come out and do the excavation and electrical and all of that. Beyond that, we'll have the field improvements once weather is better for the final installation of seed and lime. But there's not much more activity going to happen on the capital accounts beyond those areas. The school checking and savings account, during the month of January, because we are a month behind for checking and savings, there were $14,220.58 of deposits received. So the ending balance for January for all four of the buildings was a combined total of $195,885.46. Grants for the district. We had no activity within the last month. I'm quite happy to say that we are closing out most of our grants. There aren't many left open with funds except for the middle school science grant, which has a balance of $772.47. It's a multi-year grant, so it'll be around for next year. So there's no dire timeline to spend those funds. We recently had a new grant, which I'll get into after this presentation, but we'll start requesting some of the IDEA grants for out-of-district tuitions and transportation expenses in the springtime, but there hasn't been much activity to report on. Revolving accounts. So the district started the prior month with $2,988,722.93. We spent a combined total of $17,142.85 across all accounts, and it left us with a balance of $2,971,580.08. So the revolving accounts are a very healthy balance right now.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I have a couple. What was the door that was replaced? Or is that just not?
The van door.
The van door.
Yep.
But, so we just haven't been billed for it yet?
No,
Or-
we've
or it's-
closed that account out.
Oh,
There's
it's
$0
closed.
left in it.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was, all
Yep,
right.
so you'll see that the February balance is 0.
Okay, all right, that makes more sense. All right, for the revolving accounts, so when I'm looking at a bill summary, sometimes I can find the items and then match it back to this, like, an easy one was like middle school theater. I could go in, I could find that one.
That's because there's not a lot of transactions for middle school theater.
Exactly.
So, when you look at the summary sheet, you're for school choice, there could be 100 different transactions of fees coming in and expenses going out, where, you know, you'd have to add all of those up on every bill schedule for that fiscal period.
Okay.
And then you would get that expense or, you know, receivable for that month. But if you're not adding up every single expense on the bill schedule for school choice, you know, you wouldn't get that. You can't look at the summary sheet because that's a total of every single thing that hit that revolving account.
Okay, so, okay, that's what I'm getting at. Like, we look at everything separately, but in some of it, the smaller things were easy, like, to verify or
Yep.
whatever, but I'm assuming there is somebody who's calculating.
Yeah, that's where this file comes from. We reconcile everything on a line-by-line basis for every revolving account. It just would be very cumbersome to present the committee with every single report and every single line item. I mean, I can. I don't think anyone would want that, but that's up to the committee.
Just saying some of the items are easy to verify and some are not.
Yeah, the smaller clubs and activities who have one expense a month, you can easily check that, but the larger ones like school choice, you'd have a more difficult time.
Yeah.
trying to
I
add
guess
up.
the one that stood out to me was athletics, since it's on all of them, but then the number just surprised me based on the bill summaries that we looked at, that's all.
Like the remaining balance, or?
Yeah, for the February, no, the expenses, I guess, based, and then, so yeah, it has 101 and 13. It just didn't seem to,
Yeah, we often don't charge to some of the revolving accounts every single month. You know, with athletic revolving account, if there's no field rentals or,
but isn't it what's in the bill summary labeled?
well, we have athletics in the general operating budget too. You'd have
Okay,
to
so
look
we
at the
don't know
GL
where-
number to find
okay.
which, we know exactly where it's going to. You need to find if you're looking for what comes out of athletics revolving versus athletics general operating budget, you need to look at the GL number.
Ah, yes, okay, got it, thank you.
Anything else on the budget update?
Nope.
Next item is acceptance of grants and donations. I think we need a motion.
I move to approve accepting grant FC 274 as presented.
Second?
So I think a lot of credit needs to go out to the special ed director. She worked very hard to procure this grant for the district. It's for a total of $10,000, and it's a continuation of the IEP rollout, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, we're quite pleased that we were awarded that grant, and the district will continue to use those funds to help offset costs in the general operating budget.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Darling, aye?
Jerome, I.
Edwards, aye.
Kozachka, aye.
Thank you. Next item is the summer care program update.
You guys can come up. While I try to clean up, I'll update the committee. So oftentimes, the business office is all about business, right? And it's not the only thing we do. We oversee a lot of different departments, and one thing that the public might benefit from that we are trying to do a better job at is update you on some of the fun things we do. So we do oversee the summer care and aftercare programs. And Michelle Bazinet, who's sitting beside me, is the newly appointed director as of this year. She's done a great job of, you know, taking the helm of that ship and improving the program and expanding the program. And I would love the opportunity to bring some of my staff in on a rotational basis so that they can share some key highlights of what they're doing to oversee their programs and to help inform the public of specific dates and items they might want to be aware of. So I'll turn it over to Michelle.
Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, thanks for having me. My name is Michelle Bazinet. I'm the director of the Sutton Extension Program, which is before school, after school, summer care.
Hello, I'm Emily Charlton. I am the supervisor for the Sutton Extension Program. I've been there since 2018.
I have worked in the district doing many things since 2012. I was interim director last summer and a few summers ago for maternity leave. This year, decided we're going to theme summer care. Summer care is going to be Disney themed. Every week will be based off of a Disney movie. So example, like The Lion King, we'll take a trip to the zoo, we'll have curious creatures come in. So our plan is to do one out-of-district field trip and one in-district field trip per week. We plan to open, depending on snow days, hopefully we don't have any more, the week of June 23rd, so maybe the 24th, 25th. And we're going to run through August 15th, which gives us roughly 8 weeks. The program is open 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's run right out of the school. We have rates for, if you wanted, you don't have to go Monday through Friday. You can pick one day. You can pick 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. So everything is rated per the days. And you can drop off at 7 and pick up at 6. We offer on a daily basis. We do crafts, we do science, we do STEM, we do water play. The Sutton Public Library is coming once a week. So if the kids have their library card through the library, they bring a bucket and the kids can actually check out books. So they read stories with them, they do activities based on the stories that they do with them, and then they have the opportunity to check out books because as a parent, we know our time gets a little crazy and a lot of parents don't have time for that. So we really want to make this summer fun. It's been a few years and we're trying to promote it. I have had parents reach out from other school districts. We do open up to other districts around. We just ask for certain information for our nurses. We do have a nursing staff Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. They come with us for all the field trips. And we're CPR, first aid, EpiPen, AED, we're all
Certified.
Certified. Most of our staff is, so. We're going to be offering a discount to families that sign up by a certain date, which we haven't disclosed that date yet. We're also going to offer a 5% discount to families that have one child in the program, or if you have 2 or more children in the program, 10% if you would like to pay in full. We do have, right now, we have currently 3 families that have 3 children. So we're doing a buy 2, get 1 free, because 2 of those families will be coming over the summer, definitely. I know Harrison probably doesn't like that, but, but it's all good. And you know what, I've already discussed that with the families that have the 3 children, so they're very, very excited. We would also like to offer an additional discount to families that have children entering the 6th grade. We are open to kids entering kindergarten through 6th grade, and our 6th grade attendance has declined. So we would like to offer those discounts to those families as well, because we have a lot of fun ideas for field trips, so.
We only had 4 6th graders last summer, so.
Just trying to get a few, just trying to get them in. We'll be opening, we offer current staff first positions for the summer, and then if we need to, Harrison will post on School Spring any additional positions that may be available. But some of our ideas for field trips this year are Southwick's, Mrs. Hare's Art Studio, which the kids are very excited. A place called Snapology. It's a robotics STEM, and it's northern Worcester County. Our sensei, Sarah, who runs the Shrewsbury Club, we're going to do probably a field trip to her facility, and we get to pick 2 games, so the kids can kind of rotate between the games. We have yoga that we'll do in-house, Melissa Wallstrom, who's a preschool teacher. One of our 4th graders going into 5th grade is going to be offering a crocheting class, and she's going to work 1-to-1 with the littles. She's very excited. We want to offer baking. Mystic Aquarium is going to come. They actually come to us as an in-house, and Curious Creatures, so we have all kinds of fun things going on. So we just wanted to get the word out there that, we're trying our best and we're going to make this summer as fun as possible. And Hannah is also one of my staff members as well. So we look forward to working with all the hopefully new faces and all the old faces as well. So, any questions?
I had questions, but you went ahead and answered them.
Oh, sorry. Did I ramble on?
Yeah, you ruined my questions. No, that is.
I was nervous.
You did great. What an excellent opportunity to highlight. And again, Harrison, this is excellent. We're always, for school committee, it is great to have all the offerings that the school provides to come and showcase or talk about what's out there. Because again, that's such a great asset.
Right.
And, we always hear such good feedback on it. And this, I'm sure this year's plan is going to draw even more excitement.
Yeah,
so.
we're excited. We're also working on a brochure. We forgot to bring the example, but it's got the Disney castle with the fireworks, and we're
it's
gonna
cute.
we're gonna get a QR code. So Emily's been really working on that as I'm dealing with trying to
Yeah.
field trips and.
And
Yeah,
you
we're
can-
excited.
You can use Mickey Mouse now without issues.
Well,
so.
yeah, if everybody's like, "Oh, we're going to Disney World," I'm like, I wish.
Well, it's another expense.
Right. And I was going to talk to Caitlin and Harrison too. We would like to see if we could, Aftercare could do some sort of a fundraiser to help offset cost of when we do have the inflatables in the gym and the curious creatures, and just to help offset for the families.
Yeah, that's great.
And then the families pay for the out-of-district trips. And it just gets added it comes out of the Aftercare account, and then it gets added onto their bill, and then they pay it. So it just kind of.
I was gonna ask, do they have to attend, if they want to attend that day and it's a day of the field trip, do they have to attend the field trip or could they stay at?
If it's out of district, they cannot come to the day because no one else will be in
Gotcha.
the building. We'll all be out of district.
Okay. I think the field trips are great. I think it's awesome that
Yeah,
those kids get to experience
It's been a while, and, a few parents, as we were chit-chatting with parents, they don't have vacation time.
Right.
So the kids come to the program, and
Enjoy summer.
exactly, it gives them something to do. And everything, the week will be based off of, whether it's a craft or off of the movie that we choose. Not necessarily that we're going to watch the movie, but, and we do water play. They love water play. Water play's
Having started 20-something years ago at the start of the after program myself, I can appreciate emptying those pools.
Yeah. Yeah, we used Hannah's pool last year. It might still be there somewhere in the playground. But yeah, so we just, we want to offer, the families the most that we possibly can, doing it safely and appropriately and going forward with it.
That's
We're
great.
excited. We're even going to try and take a field trip over April vacation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whittier's Farm, we've talked to them, they're doing their cows, cheese, and cocoa. So it's $6 per kid. So they'll do little wagon rides and kind of give them a little lesson. So we want them to have fun, but we're also kind of keeping, we want it to be educational as well. Keep
Such
'em-
a great offering for the community, because I'm sure a lot of people really, that's such a great help to have
Yes.
that attention during those hours. And, jokingly, but I'm glad there's a buffer, the 13th, between the start of school, because that would be a tough shift in gears to go from all the stuff you're talking about to,
Yes.
all right, class time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we end on the 15th, so not only does it give us a week to get ready,
Yeah.
but it gives the custodial staff time. Same with at the end of school, there's a few days lull,
Yep.
so the custodians can kind of get in and clean, whether it's ESY rooms or the rooms that we use. And then they save the cafeteria, the gym, and our main hallways till the end of the summer, so we like to give them that time,
yeah,
so.
thank you so much, both of
Thank
you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
do
you
have
very much for letting us speak.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Okay. The camps that come out of the high school, I believe, is there any wiggle room if kids wanted to attend that and then they go
So
to
they
your?
do.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
what I was wondering.
They, depending on the time of the camp, if the parents have to get to work early, they drop them off to us. We walk them over in the morning. We make sure they're checked in.
Okay.
And then in the afternoon, we do the same. We'll go over and get a group of kids, and then we bring them back.
Perfect.
As long as the parents notify us that, hey, so-and-so's in this camp, can you guys go over? And we're like, yep, So we make a list and we go week to week
Great.
of who's where. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Next item is to discuss school choice.
So this is just to put on the committee's radar that this is something.
Just wait 1 second.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that microphone, but I'm tired of having it. So I'm just gonna switch it.
I can also talk loud.
Things for teacher voice, like.
Yeah, I use my second grade teacher voice. All right, let's see. Okay, so this was just on the agenda, and speaking with Di, my executive assistant, she just wanted to make sure it was on your radar that you should start thinking about the number of seats that you want to open for school choice next year. I can tell you just in years past, just to give you a little bit of history in case you have forgotten what you have open previously. So for this 2024-2025 school year, you voted to open a total of 16 seats. You opened up seats in grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, and grade 11 based on enrollment. The prior year for 2023-2024, you actually opened 34 seats. You opened 6 seats in grade 6, 10 seats in grade 7, 0 seats in grade 8, 2 seats in grade 9, 7 in grade 10, 5 in grade 11, and 4 in grade 12. And then prior to that, 2022-2023, it was 9 seats. 2021-2022, it was 10 seats. And then in 2020-2021, it was also 10 seats. Just for your current information, currently we have 45 non-residents that are school choiced in. And we have 38 Sutton residents who are school choiced out to other public schools. And just for you to know, current enrollment numbers, for the high school, you are looking at currently 92 ninth graders, 81 10th graders, 99 11th graders, and 95 12th graders. So it looks like that grade 10 is a bit of an anomaly compared to the other 3. For the middle school, you're looking at 117 6th graders. That's a really large class. 102 7th graders and 94 8th graders.
And we won't have numbers on BVT before we come up with this like every year. It's, kids find out anywhere from April all the way through September, so it's tough to gauge based on that.
We have received preliminary numbers from Norfolk Aggie, and it looks like we're being told that there are a possible 4 candidates from 8th grade that are applying, and there's 16 currently enrolled from 9 to 12. I have only received applications for 2 of those 4 candidates, though.
Do you ever get, I probably have asked this in previous years and I just don't remember, do you expect to get any indications from families where, you know, their grandfather, their father, everybody's gone to St. John's sort of thing? Like, do they often get indications?
We often ask the middle school adjustment counselor if he has any of that information.
Yep.
At times, we don't really receive it in time for this because they haven't made the final decision yet.
Yeah.
We do ask families, though, that when they know that information, if you are not going to be sending your child or if they are going to be going to a different setting, to let us know because it can affect decisions like this.
Yep.
We'll put this on the agenda for the first meeting in April.
Yep.
And then Jill had mentioned about a survey to the students, or
I was
was
thinking,
that parents?
I was thinking to
The
parents.
parents, just if you're considering
Yeah.
sending your child, I can have that put together and sent out. Of just something as easy as, yes, I'm definitely pulling my child. They don't have to provide their information. It can be anonymous, or I'm considering my child going to a different placement, or my child will be attending Sutton Public Schools. Yep, we can
Yeah,
send that out.
Something pretty basic to get some
And that will
numbers.
just give you some preliminary information as to that. And then my only recommendation would be to consider the amount of seats that you have open in the past, and that this is one of our only sources of revenue as a school district. And we do offset about $350,000 of the high school operating budget with school choice funds every year. So just to make sure that we're not drastically decreasing the amount of seats so that we can maintain that money.
What is our, the final date that we have to have the numbers presented? It's in April.
I don't know the exact date off the top of my
I'm
head.
just wondering, I think we have 2 meetings potentially in, we just have 1 in April, right?
Yeah, it's the first.
So
It's
we
like
have to
April
decide in the
3rd.
April meeting.
Yep, it would
Yeah.
need to be at that April
Because
meeting.
April break makes it such that we don't.
So
have a
I can
second
send out
meeting.
that survey on Friday, so that you have that information, and once I've collected that, I'll send it off to all of you, just so that you can make informed decisions. And then I'll have Di, scan and upload all of this information for you guys as well, that just has current enrollment numbers, as well as dating back to 2020.
Okay.
You did have the history. If you can grab it, can you add another column that shows the seats that were filled? Because often we'll
Yep.
open seats, like, we have that 10th grade with 81, and we say, oh, well, we can do 10 there. Just because we
Might
open
still
10 doesn't
current.
mean we
Yep.
fill 10.
Yep.
And, you know, just as a reminder to the public, as school committee, many years ago, we decided to try to focus more on middle school, high school. We felt that we could kind of manage the numbers a little bit better if we started in the early grades. You have people moving to town, and we've really tried to be protective of the class number, the class size in the early grades. So, you know, that's part of the reason why you don't see too much pre-6th grade. And also, when we add some students in the high school, it does help us to really justify and maintain some of the programming too, which is nice. And we've had a lot of school choice students really help academic-wise with clubs, sports, everything. We've had some really good folks join the community. Oftentimes, people don't even realize their school choice, so. Yep. All right.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
All right, we'll move to the facilities and operations section, facilities update.
Yes, so I'll try to go through this quickly. MSBA, I think it was at the last meeting that I mentioned that they were gonna be doing a site visit where they come and look at the facility, interview the facilities director, just to kind of get a gauge or an understanding of where our building and facilities are at. They actually, we found out, just terminated their contract with the third party that's currently doing all of the survey work. So this may impact our site visit. I know that, Ben was going to be the school committee rep that was going to go on that visit. It is tentatively scheduled for April 3rd, but it may change now that they are going with a different company. So we're kind of in limbo with that. I did just want to address the loss of water on February 7th. So we did lose water on February 7th for about a period of 30 minutes. A communication did go out to all families in the district when that happened. The well pump shut off due to a spike in chlorine, and it turns out that our vendor accidentally mixed too much chlorine in, and it was setting off the alarm. So the safeguard acted as it was intended, but it did result in us going without water for 20 to 30 minutes. During this period of time when there was no water, it was after lunches were served, which makes it a lot easier for us as a district to function. We just make sure that there's hand sanitizer out at all bathrooms and that bottled water is available for students, and we're able to stay in school for that. In the month of February, our facilities department was mainly focused on snow and ice removal. I'll say they did a great job doing that, and they'll continue to monitor that as we hopefully wrap up this winter and have no more snow days. New carpet was finally installed at the band room door, which completes that capital project. So the door was installed, but now the carpeting has been redone. The stage floor at the high school was painted over February break. We did have a domestic hot water line burst in the middle of the night in the elementary school over vacation week. MPC was able to come and repair it the next morning, luckily, so lunches were not affected at the elementary school. And this was actually discovered by one of our custodians who was implementing our facility director's new building check program. He has a checklist in place that he's asked night custodians to go through before they leave the building at the end of the night. So it did its job, and it alerted them to this issue that could have caused more issues had it not been found. One thing that Dave, the facilities director, is currently problem solving is what should we be doing on weekends? Because if something like that were to happen over the weekend, that would have been leaking water for quite a long period of time, and we would have been unaware. So he's problem solving, what to do about that. And then finally, he wanted everyone to know that the facility staff has mounted a bunch of iPads throughout the elementary school, just how we track certain things with student behavior, and that they also have been working on painting some of the areas specifically in the ELC that needed a little sprucing up.
Great. Great.
And that goes into the water continuity plan, which is listed as a separate bullet point.
Okay.
So the water continuity plan it stemmed from that loss of water on February 7th. So Dan Durgan oversees anything to do with the waste treatment plant and our well water. And so he worked with Cheryl Rowinski of the Board of Health to develop this water continuity plan, because as we've said, our goal is to always have staff and students in school, even if we do have a water outage. So this plan, it was in the packet for you, is what we will do if there is another occurrence of this. The main thing being, if we have already served food and no longer need to serve food, it's just like I said, we make sure that hand sanitizer and water is available for staff and students. If the water outage, this is the new piece, does occur before lunch prep, each kitchen will need approximately 75 gallons of water on hand for cooking, hand washing, and dishes per day. They will also have backup cleaning, sanitizing supplies on hand for disinfecting surfaces. They will have hand sanitizer for all hand washing in all bathrooms. 50 cases of 8-ounce bottles of water will be on hand and stored in the basement for student drinking water. Baby wipes will also be on hand for students with allergies for hand washing. In the last water outage, it was brought to our attention by the nursing staff that hand sanitizer does not disinfect your hands if you were to, say, touch peanut butter and have a peanut butter allergy, and that we would need baby wipes on hand to make sure that we're keeping those students with allergies safe. The Board of Health would like the water cycled out every 12 to 18 months. And our plan is to have each kitchen cook with the bottled water once a year as a drill, if there are no issues with the well. This will familiarize the staff with the proper procedures to cook with bottled water if we're ever in this situation again. So we have gone ahead and purchased these materials so that we can avoid this if it were to happen in the future. We purchased 35 5-gallon water jugs, which was $350. We purchased 50 cases of 48-count 8-ounce water bottles, which was $359, for a total of $759, which we are paying out of the cafeteria revolving account. Those 50 cases of 8-ounce water will be cycled out with normal water ordering, so field trips, field days, that sort of situation. If it is determined the water outage will span multiple days, we can always get more on hand for cooking and drinking if we know that information. And then just the last piece is the toilet flushing. So water used to flush toilets is separate from the well pump house. The gray water system in the wastewater treatment plant is used to flush toilets. So as a backup, the gray water system, there is a dedicated well, which is non-potable, behind the wastewater treatment plant that we can manually switch for toilet flushing if need be. So I just wanted to make the committee aware that we did develop that water continuity plan, and to thank Dan Durgan and Cheryl Rowinski working diligently together to get this up and running, so we make sure that we don't have to send kids home if our water does go down.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments?
That's great, thank you.
Next item is the superintendent's report.
Okay, so the first
Right
thing
in
on
it.
there is I have the second quarter report from SWEC to present. So we are a member district of the Southern Worcester County Educational Collaborative. Just to give you some information, because they need it for their meeting minutes, that the committee was briefed on it. So this report spans from October 1st through December 31st, 2024. Some of the highlights in there was that they've seen a rapid increase in referrals to all of their programs, and their current total enrollment is 122 students between all of their programs. Their staffing does remain a challenge, as it has in multiple school districts around the Commonwealth, but their principals and directors are actively recruiting through School Spring, Indeed, and word of mouth to try to attract and vet candidates. I do know that right now they are at capacity, and they have close to 80 referrals for the GROW program alone that they cannot at this point take in. They are continuing to strengthen their implementation of PBIS, so that's positive behavior interventions and supports across all grade levels at the GROW program specifically. And their specialized developmental program continues to flourish. They're delivering rigorous, enriching, and multimodal learning experiences anchored in thematic units. Looking ahead, during the third quarter, they will be working closely with their Director of Finance and Operations to put forth their budget. They too are also in negotiations with their teaching staff this year. And these discussions will help guide our recommendations to the Board of Directors. I sit on the Finance Board for SWEC currently, and we will be looking at presenting that upcoming budget in the next couple of weeks. That is pretty much it from SWEC.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
And that full report that goes program by program is in the folder that I shared with all of you as well. And then just a couple things for the superintendent's report, open positions. I'm going to continue to say we need substitute teachers for pre-K to 5. We have had a couple of awesome people that have been working pretty consistently, but we can always use more. We are in need of 1.5 instructional assistants at the Simonian Center for Early Learning in Sutton Elementary School. 1 custodian we are still looking to fill, that is a nighttime custodian position, and 1 7D driver. As I mentioned in the budget presentation, I did just want to make sure that I corrected when I misspoke about the cap for the sewing and fashion design. The cap is 16. The current enrollment is 12, and the reason that the cap is 16 is they have 8 sewing machines, so they figure 2 students per sewing machine. I wanted to let you know about the middle school and high school. They have an AI committee, and it consists of administration, parents, and students, and they have been working tirelessly on establishing guidelines that they will come present to the committee at a later date this spring. Just to brief you on their work, and they're hoping to then implement those guidelines into their student handbooks. I really wanted to give kudos to the middle school and high school staff for this because they are getting out in front of something that is ever evolving instead of just trying to ignore it. And they're also not saying AI isn't something that we should have in our schools. They realize that there are some benefits to using AI, and they've worked as a committee to determine what those benefits are and how the use of AI can best benefit our students in Sutton. So they realize the positive impact it can have, and I'm appreciative that they've taken the time to develop that committee on their own and move forward. And I will say, in speaking with other superintendents in the Blackstone Valley, no one else has really started this process yet. So I'm happy to say that they're one of the first to do so. We have SESA negotiations that you have been briefed on. We are hoping that we are close to an agreement with them, and that maybe at the next school committee meeting, we will be able to talk about a ratified contract. The newsletter was sent out earlier today. Again, I'm encouraging everyone, even if you think you won't qualify, to please fill out the free and reduced lunch application. It is tied to some of our funding, so even if you think you may not qualify, there is a chance that it could increase and or decrease our entitlement funds, such as our title funds. And just some of the updates from there, in case people don't go through it. The high school, as mentioned, had the Environmental Club hosted an excellent program by Animal Adventures Family Zoo and Rescue Center in Bolton, Mass., and over 60 members of the high school Environmental Club attended that. The middle school, they have a drama production this weekend. It is called How I Met Your Mummy, and it is on Friday, March 7th and Saturday, March 8th in the middle school, high school auditorium. There is a $5 admission fee. Students will enter for free. It is at 7 p.m. on Friday and at noon on Saturday. For the elementary school, they just recently participated in the Kids Heart Challenge, and they had over 159 students register online to learn hands-only CPR and warning signs of strokes. And they raised a total of $6,219.52 for the American Heart Association. And additionally, another feel-good moment for their community was during the month of February. They had their K-2 music concerts, which I attended, and they were great. So a shout out to Miss Wildman, who put those performances on. And then the last piece is just from the special education department. They did secure that $10,000 grant that Harrison briefed you on, and I just wanted to provide you with information as to what that training will be. So the $10,000 will be used to provide training for staff, and the topics will include assistive technology, augmentative and alternative communication, specially designed instruction in the least restrictive environment, and transition planning for students ages 13 plus.
Any questions coming?
Thank you.
The goals review. I think we've hit many of them tonight. Any new business?
Well, I was gonna say the middle school play. Going on Saturday, can't wait.
I just want to congratulate the DECA team. I know we heard it open forum tonight, but they had a great showing at the state competition. I know my own daughter got to participate, my nephew, and I heard wonderful things. So I congratulate Miss Taylor for stepping up to lead that club this year. I know Miss Campbell stepped in last minute to chaperone, but I heard only wonderful things about the competition at the state level. I think we had one student who made it national, from what I hear.
I believe that's the case, but I'm not 100% positive.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. It's always good news.
Yeah. Anything? I'm going to use my forum. Please remember the food pantry. Okay, I guess we need. Nope.
Won't step on any toes. I will make a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss contract negotiations and not reconvene in open session.
Second.
Darling, I.
Jerome, I.
Edwards, aye.
Kozach guy.
Passes. Move to executive session.
Dining resources down in the village of Manchog, which is an important add to the town.